Good evening and welcome to the Eden Prairie Community Center. This is John Connolly, joined by Bart Archer. It is hockey day in Minnesota, Bart, and I couldn't be more excited.
Well, this is our contribution, and we have a pretty good one. John Lake Conference rivals, Wayzata Trojans, invade the Eden Prairie Community Center to take on an Eden Prairie squad that's trying to kind of still find their way. They've had some recent success, but they've also had some recent failures. But it's a team that works very, very hard, and they're very tough to beat at home, so Wayzata has a job in front of them tonight.
This is a really some great storylines. This is a good matchup. At the beginning of the year, the preseason rankings, EP number 8, Wayzata number 10, so right in the same ballpark. Things have gone as expected for Wayzata. Their ranking right now is 11th in Let's Play Hockey, 12th in the computer ranking. Eden Prairie's been a disappointment. They have a losing record, 6-9-1. They're 16th in Let's Play Hockey, 17th in the computer ranking. But, Bart, I seem to remember being here about a week ago. It was Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
What happened last week as Eden Prairie took on Duluth East?
Well, I think Eden Prairie had a little fortune on their side, but they earned that victory. They had to come back, score 2 goals against a very difficult to play against Duluth East Greyhound team, so that had to give them some confidence. And I think when they faced Minnetonka in their last match, I think Minnetonka just came out very focused and very energetic, and I think they overwhelmed the Eagles early. The Eagles put the wheels back on the hub, but it wasn't easy as they dropped that one 6-3.
No rest for the weary. I actually watched that game online. A goal in the first minute. It's 3-0 after 5 minutes. It was just too much too soon. Eden Prairie not able to come back from that. They only lost 6-3.
Yeah.
So, I think what I would say about Eden Prairie is it's a team that's capable, but at this point their record is 6-9-1. Flip that around, Wayzata 9-6-1. Now, Bart, both of these teams head into sectional play as underdogs. Eden Prairie's in the same 2AA section with Minnetonka and Holy Family. Wayzata is in with Edina and Cretin-Durham Hall. But neither of these is an easy out. I would hate to face these teams in a section semi.
Well, they're very proud programs as well, but it's really hard, and I think Wayzata faced that after they won in 16. You just have to kind of reload a little bit. You lose some primary players, and Eden Prairie suffered from that. I mean, there's no Hunter Johannes on this team. There's no Casey Middlestat, no Nolan Sullivan, and no Nikki Lieberman. So, there has been a bit of a transition. They've had some growing pains. Let's pause for the anthem.
Bart Archer, a nice recorded version of the national anthem there, our Star Spangled Banner. I'll have you know, I came moments ago from Blake Arena. They actually had Blake Girls Choir, and a couple of the players stepped in right before the game singing the national anthem for the game they were about to play. So a touch of class over there at Blake Arena. Not to mention a check for $112,000 had been raised by some Blake players for charity to stop sex trafficking in the state of Minnesota. That was presented before the game. So
Boy.
just a feel-good day all the way around here in the state of Minnesota at, State of Hockey. It's Hockey Day in Minnesota, and we're glad to be kind of wrapping it up here with a game. Great game between Western suburban rivals in the Twin Cities.
Yeah, great work by the Blake ladies. That's a very impressive number. But yes, it's going to be a nice one, and you talked about it. These are two pretty evenly matched squads. They've been kind of mimicking each other in the rankings so far, but this Wayzata team is won 4 in a row after dropping 3 in a row, so they're trending the right direction, and they've had big wins over Moorhead, Hill, Murray, Delano, and Duluth Marshall, so it hasn't been an easy road for them. But Eden Prairie 2-5-1 in the last 8, but they're 1-1 in the last 2 against 2 number 1 teams. So there is some positives on the Eden Prairie side. They're eager to get to work. Let's go.
And it goes a little something like this. Puck is dropped and we're off. Looking at some line charts, I got some help from someone that was at Wayzata's game last night, filling their line chart out. We're going to start Nesh, Schmidt, and Mulrennan up front. For Eden Prairie, I'm building off the last game I did with you a week ago. Oh, shot just over the net from Ness. We don't have Rudrud out there. So nice they named him twice. Rudrud not out there today, and at least the national anthem. I didn't see him there, which was one of the nice play here. This is Conan. Conan with a snapper, and it's steered aside. That's Wong in goal for the Trojans.
It looks like Conan's back at forward.
You know, I kind of wondered what they would do with Conan. They just don't have enough depth to play some of these higher-end teams, and Conan's been able to be used both ways. He played defense last year at Kimball Union in New Hampshire, but grew up as a forward and started this season as a forward and then converted back to defense. And just seems like there's no good spot for him. It has less to do with him. It's just wherever he's not, there might be a little bit of a hole. So interesting if they've got him back on the forward line again today. Now they'll need someone else to pick up the slack on defense. I'm expecting Busby to be a part of that. He's been picking up more and more minutes as just a sophomore.
And they've been getting more production out of their back line, with Pager getting his first one last game. And Langfeld's got to step up a little bit more. He was very prominent early going on the score sheet. He's minding defensive responsibilities, but I just think putting Conan up front gets a big body up there that has offensive minded, and they can cover on defense just fine. But it's kind of a risk-reward type thing. Lee Smith opted to put him at the forward position tonight. This is going to be a very important line for Eden Prairie tonight. The Bukowski, Grain, and Lesko. Yes,
they were outstanding a week ago in the upset win over Duluth East. Also outstanding was the Shirts Plus Player of the Game, awarded by you to Dietrich in goal. Dietrich again gets the start for Eden Prairie. And, you know, he played very, very well. Also thought he had some pretty good fortune where there were some pucks that kind of didn't bounce Duluth East way. And this one, maybe they don't need to throw a perfect game to get the win, but they'll definitely need a good showing from Dietrich if they're going to beat Wayzata.
But I think Wayzata's real focus has got to be to kind of get the first one and get a lead, play with the lead, because they're very sound defensively as far as limiting opportunities and shots on goal. Not a great come-from-behind team, because goals have been a bit of a struggle for them. Eden Prairie has proved that they can come back against good competition, so I think it's important Wayzata gets an early lead.
Langfels and Irwin on the point. This is Smith, Jensen, and we got to figure out who's out there in the place of Rudrud. Looks like that is Conan. So that's how they're going to mask. Maybe
Rudrud is just a little tender, coming off some medical issues and such. Came back and played 2 pretty intense games, not back to back, but 2 games within 3 nights. So maybe they're just for preventive measures, giving his body a chance to kind of recoup a little bit. So hopefully everything's going to be okay, and he's showing his talents back on the Eden Prairie squad soon.
The other thing that I think is interesting is Eden Prairie has dressed a full slate today. It was a week ago when I got a line chart from Coach Lee Smith. He just went 3 lines deep and was dressing just 9 forward, 6 defense. Scoring chance, beautiful backhand. Nice save there. Jensen with a couple of whacks at it. Jensen, leading scorer for the Eden Prairie Eagles, 13 goals, 12 assists, 25 points this year. Jensen with a couple cracks at it right there.
Yeah, making a bid for his 14th. That was a pretty good look on the backhand. He's not one to shy away from using that backhand from the right hash through traffic, but it was It was Wong that actually made that save, covered it up, face off to his left. But that's something that Eden Prairie intermittently couldn't do is sustain pressure inside the zone, much less get between the hash marks. So Coach Lee Smith has to feel pretty good about the way his team has started tonight.
We've been talking a lot about Eden Prairie. This is Matthews, Lyson, and Monty out for the Trojans, joined on defense by Anderson and Dingman. Nice centering pass, gets it with a backhander going just wide. Nice slot shot there from Lesko. Eden Prairie with a little bit of zone time to start this game. We're just 3 minutes in, still scoreless. Lesko with another shot. This one goes wide on the near side.
Next one should be perfect.
Crazy, yeah. Just average those out. I remember, it's funny you say that, you know, sometimes you'll hear people talking about their kids if they're playing sports, like, oh, I've got 2 kids. One of them's got this great mind for the game. The other one's really, really fast and skilled. Put them together, they'd be perfect. I had a friend once tell me, goes, or they'd be horrible. And it's like, no one ever thinks if it was the,
right.
the less desirable traits put together.
Or they don't have any ability at all.
Oh, I thought that was so funny. That's
that is pretty good.
Good friend of mine, Mark Dorr. Mark played at West Point. His son, Christopher. So I'm going to tie it all together for you, Mark. Chris Dorr, my son, Jack Conley. Happy 16th birthday to Jack Conley down in Orlando, Florida.
Happy birthday.
And Ryan Mulrennan, all Mike teammates, Space Coast Hurricanes. So we'll talk a little bit about Mulrennan as the game goes on. Ryan Mulrennan, a transplant to the state of hockey. Nelson, Solly, and Tereshevsky. Yeah, Mulrennan's got the wheels. So Nelko, Solly, and Tereshevsky, the forward line out for Wayzata. Nice pass hits Tereshevsky coming through the neutral zone, gains the red, gains the blue, pulls it out into the corner, fights a battle along the end wall, and steers the puck over to his line mate Nelko. Back to the point, and it's a clap bomber high and steered down. Nice high shot there by Bergslin, had a clean look at the goal and opted to take it up in the air. Covered up by Wong temporarily, no whistle, and they'll have to break it out. Pass doesn't quite connect. This is Nelko coming in, gains the red, chips it down the length of the ice, steered aside by Dietrich. He gets the cover right in front of him. It was a forechecking Solly.
Well, a little bit of zone time for this Wayzata Trojan team. As you said, it was Bergslin that took that big booming shot. I think it caught Dietrich up high, and I think it kind of stunned him a little bit. I think it surprised him, but now some offensive zone time for this Wayzata Trojan squad. If they can get some pressure on Dietrich, obviously it'll answer the early energy that Eden Prairie had.
Pikowski, Grain, and Lesko out for the Eagles. Schmidt, Ness, and the aforementioned Ryan Mulrennan lined up in the slot there for the Trojans.
What's a good matchup for Lee Smith against the ones of Wayzata.
A little bit of a scrum along the wall. We've got a pair of 22s chipping away at it. Eventually pops out onto the stick of Irwin. He throws it over the glass, and we'll get a stoppage. Face-off coming to Dietrich's left.
It was a hard sauce pass to Jack Jensen. Unfortunately, he's on the bench. So the face-off is going to come back into the Eden Prairie zone at Dietrich's left. We're early in this first period. Kind of what we thought. It's not going to be an up and down track meet. It's going to be very deliberate. You get your opportunities, you got to take them because there's not going to be many tonight.
So we're kind of getting started here in the Lake Conference. This is a Lake Conference game. One of the things I think is interesting about Lake Conference this year, Bart, Hopkins is just going to play one cycle, and those games are going to count double. Hopkins, maybe in at least sport of hockey, not enjoying a strong run right now. So almost all the late games are going to be very challenging. Even for Minnetonka and Edina, teams like Eden Prairie and Wayzata are going to be tough outs. And they only have one crack at Hopkins this year. So this is going to be good. You know, it means something until you get to postseason, then it's meaningless. But either one of these teams is going to want to finish third or fourth if they have a chance to finish first or second. So they're going to need to win games like this.
Well, and that's it's all about the seating in the sections. You just want to get the record, get the resume, so to speak, and a favorable seed can mean a whole bunch moving forward in sections, obviously.
It wasn't long ago Wayzata was at risk of falling to either fourth or fifth or even sixth in the section. They had lost 4 out of 5, losing 6-3 to Blake, lost to Hermantown Brainerd, and then they lost to St. Louis Park. But Wayzata has really righted the ship, if you will, 4-0,
Yep.
4 wins in a row.
And
They
they
beat
pretty good squads, too.
a pretty good Moorhead team in overtime. Beat Hill Murray 3-1. Hill Murray had a good showing in the Schwann Cup against Centennial is when I saw them.
Yep.
They beat Delano, and Delano's been one of the better Class A programs for a while. And last night, a pretty good win over Duluth Marshall. I saw Marshall today. They had a boys game at Blake before the girls game I just announced, and Marshall really took it to Blake, winning, I want to say, 6-3-ish or something like that. So Wayzata's trending in the right direction and no longer probably a risk of falling down the seeding chart that far.
True.
And winning a few games out the rest of the way, probably the number 3 seed in a likely semifinal matchup in sectionals with Cretan and Durham Hall.
Well, and they did shut out Duluth Marshall 2-0, which is to get the wins impressive, but to shut out a team like Marshall, that really puts an extra feather in the cap.
10:40 remains. We're still scoreless. A little bit of a feeling out period early. I can't say we've had great scoring chances either way. A couple shots that have been steered aside by goaltenders Wong and Dietrich, and a couple shots that have whistled wide. It's pretty good environment here on Hockey Day in Minnesota. But Bart, I want to talk about some other things. St. Cloud Cathedral, 8-3 winners over St. Cloud. Interesting game. The women's coach of the NCAA team has a son on St. Cloud, and the men's coach, Monsko, has a son on St. Cloud Cathedral. So good little game there. I'll throw it out there. I'm going to be talking about this throughout today's game. 5th goal for Cathedral scored by Jackson Savoy of Jacksonville, Florida. So not only do we have Floridians Chris Conan on Eden Prairie and Ryan Mulrennan of Wayzata in this game. Good showing today from transplanted Floridian Jackson Savoy with a goal and a win in one of the feature games that was on Fox Sports Television today from Outdoor Rink in St. Cloud. So Bart, I did some analysis before we got here. I know you do the same thing I do before a game. Have you noticed Eden Prairie's penalty kill is improving ever so slightly as they kill a few in these last games? It's no longer just 60%. They're up to about 64% on the kill.
Well, and look at who they're killing the penalties against as well. I mean, it's really started to trend upwards against Duluth East. I thought they had a pretty nice showing there, but they killed off a big penalty against Minnetonka that kept them at least in the mix. Little extracurricular outside the camera view. A couple players playing catch up back into the play.
So if you're a follower of Wayzata, as some of our viewers are, it's something that has been a frequent occurrence. I did Eden Prairie against St. Thomas not too long ago, then Duluth East, and now today, Eden Prairie has not killed at a respectable rate, which makes penalties very, very impactful. They've taken 47 minor penalties this year, and it's given up 17 goals. So,
and there is another dovetail to that. They've not. They gave up 2 shorthanded goals against the Minnetonka Skipper squad. So their special teams is looking to right their course. But if there's a coach that can do it, it's going to be Lee Smith. I just think that they press a little bit too much. They try too hard almost. They sometimes over pursue or overplay the puck, and it leads to some opportunities. But they're getting better at playing with a little bit more discipline. Without discipline, you cannot have success. And that's, I think, one thing that Eden Prairie has to put a little bit more focus on. But I'm sure that Coach Lee Smith will get them going the right direction.
Nice shot to close out the last shift from Nelko. They get a cover from Dietrich. We get a line change.
Oh, here we go.
Schmidt and Mulrennan. This is Mulrennan enters on his off wing. Goal scorers, and Mulrennan's a pure goal scorer. Goal scorers love entering on that offside because when you cut to the center ice, you're cutting to your forehand.
Yeah.
Marty St. Louis, Ovechkin, thinking of some of the big names that have played off wing. Mulrennan's pretty dangerous over there. He's been subdued this year. Last year as a freshman, 7 goals, pretty impressive. I think he was second or third in the team in goals. This year, he hasn't quite as much opportunity. I think he was buried on a lower line when I saw him play earlier this year. But he's playing some top line time. Ness and Schmidt are his line mates. And look for Mulrennan to generate, at least a scoring chance a period. He's that kind of player.
Well, sometimes it just depends upon the opportunity. Sometimes, if you have some primaries or seniors, they get the call first and foremost. But if you get the opportunity, you just have to take advantage. So far, he's done that. But goals have been kind of few to come by. They just have to be important. But their defense is so good, it gives them a chance to win every game.
Schmidt to Ness, back to Schmidt. And he finds a streaking north. up from the blue line. This is North on the forecheck and lays a big hit, leaves the puck for Schmidt. Schmidt tries a dipsy dangle, but he runs into some static, turns the puck over to the sidewall. It's a breakout opportunity for the Eagles. This is a nice pass from Pikowski. Pikowski hits Langfelds, gets it over in the direction of Lesko, and now they've taken it down to the end wall. They can complete their change. Out to the neutral zone. Pass doesn't quite connect, but it winds up bouncing onto the stick of Schmidt. He enters, takes a shot. This one hits the side of the net. Goes off to the end wall. Scrum along the far corner. Both teams with 2 on the puck. Nobody quite sending that third player into commit. Finally, get a little bit more pursuit here from Wilhite. Shot from the point, swallowed up. Anderson's shot covered by Dietrich.
That was a nice shot by Anderson, the senior defenseman. Good work along the wall by the Trojans. Really drew, as you said, 2 Eden Prairie defenders in, won that battle, got the puck on the far side of the open man. Put a good shot, got it right into the Eden Prairie crest. Dietrich held onto it. Now, Lee Smith can get some fresh legs on the ice. We're about halfway through this first period. Started out Eden Prairie, had the territorial advantage. It looks like Wayzata is kind of starting to take that back now. It's been a nice seesaw battle, but nothing, as you said, as far as golden opportunities yet.
Conan gets the pass up ahead, looking for Smith. Also out there is Jensen. This line, like you said, newly formed as they've moved Conan up in the absence of Rudrud. A little bit of jockeying behind the goal. Eventually, Wayzata works it back to the point where it's kept in by Anderson. Bounces over the stick of Monty. Oh, a nice move there. Kept faking that he was going to go inside. Jensen worked it to the outside, eventually lost the puck down to the end wall. We're breaking it out the other way. Here comes, I think that's Monty. My Wayzata lines seem to be mostly intact, but I think we've got somebody suited up today that I didn't have listed. Dumped down the length of the ice, Nick Gardner gives a breakout opportunity for the Eagles. And it's been kind of one of those shifts, Bart, where the puck's jumping over everyone's stick. No one can really seem to get enough control of it to do what they want. Yeah, there really hasn't been a flow so far. They really haven't found the rhythm. Smith enters the zone one-on-one with a back checker. He can't quite fight off Zedlik. Big save there by Wong. Kind of a creative save to throw it up to himself. I don't know that that's something you want to teach, a high-risk maneuver, but Wong gets the cover. Face-off comes to his right. Well, in a vulnerable position, he just had to make a play, but it was Garrett Smith that actually went 1-on-4, put the puck on net, but then it seemed like the Wayzata Trojans sagged a little bit on that and really opened up some space for a follow-up opportunity by Eden Prairie. Kind of a neat play. Brett doing a good job getting the replay. He made the save, and the puck popped in front of him. He chose to bat it with the paddle of his stick. That knocked it into the air, and then he had to make a glove save. So let me ask, if you're counting shots on goal, do we give him credit for 3 saves or 1? Probably 1, but you don't get it for batting it up. I wouldn't think anyway. You know, it's like those basketball guys when they miss a shot, can throw a rebound and go back up with it. You know, you can pad your rebounding count, add to your missed shot count. But, you know, that's kind of what it looked like. Nonetheless, we're down on the other end, and face-off comes to Dietrich's left as the puck tips up into the netting. Both teams go for a line change. This is Schmidt, Ness, and Mulrennan in blue. And coming out the other way, Grain, Pikowski, and Lesko. Well, I think if you're Coach O'Leary, this is the line that you want to have on. These are your big players, but if you're Coach Lee Smith having the last change, he can match. And this is a gritty line that's going against this Wayzata line, so Wayzata's going to have to work for what they get, but they certainly have the skill and the talent to do it. I like this line. Pikowski with a pass that gets to Lesko's stick and is turned over. Nice scoring chance there. Hard snapper from Ness, and it's swallowed up by Dietrich. Well, I like what Mulrennan did on that one. He drew the defender in, knew that he had support in Ness streaking on that side, put it right on the stick. A good follow-up opportunity. I think he'd like to have it back, but he put it again right in the crest of Dietrich. So they're making Dietrich not work very, very hard in good position by the Eden Prairie goaltender, but they've got to start kind of picking some corners, make him use those limbs. Face off one straight back to North. Shot ends up going up over the Prairie goal, and now we're fighting a battle on the near wall. To his side and lurking just outside of reach is Captain Irwin. They can't quite clear the zone as North keeps it in, gets a shot toward the goal. This time it does pop over the stick of Bergsland. And Everyone has to tag up as they dump it back down to the end wall.
Another nice win for Wayzata along the wall against Eden Prairie in their own zone. Eden Prairie is going to have to be a little bit more effective defending in their own zone.
Ness dumps it down, and Schmidt gets there first. He uses Mulrennan. Mulrennan throws it out into the slot, but only white jerseys there, and it's an easy breakout opportunity for Grain. Gets it ahead to Lesko, dumps it down to the end wall. We'll get a penalty here. I think it's our first interference to call.
And I think it's going to go against 15 on the Trojans. That Bergsland.
Ness, isn't it? Oh, Bergsland.
Yeah,
okay.
In fact, I think that once Jensen chipped it in, he kind of gave him a little bit of a push, interrupted his stride without the puck. So it's going to be a great opportunity for Eden Prairie right now in the waning moments of this first period on the power play. Their power play is 18.8%. Has dropped of late, but they're going to get a great opportunity. 78.2% penalty kill for Wayzata. Normally we're used to seeing them in the upper 80s or lower 90s, so they obviously have some work to do, and they have a great opportunity here.
They definitely looking to take advantage of this part. I was going to say the same thing. They're okay. It's an okay Eden Prairie power play statistically, and it's an okay PK for Wayzata. 78%. They've allowed 12 power play goals against.
Just their body of work in the last 4 or 5 years. But again, it's the transition of high school hockey. That's part of the charm about it. It's a new addition every year.
So Matthews out on the kill, Solly, and the defense are Anderson and it looks like Dingman.
Dingman's a big body out there too.
No relation, because I can tell with the extra end, no relation to Chris Dingman. Chris was my color man when I announced the women's Olympic team in November. And Chris, two-time Stanley Cup winner. Both of them went to Game 7.
Well, and so, I do think there's a relation with the previous goaltender for this Wayzata Trojan squad that really carved out a nice legacy in this program.
Coming out of his own end is Middlestat. Middlestat is the middle brother of the Middlestat clan. Casey just named the #1 player at the World Junior Tournament, just rejoined the Gophers. I know at some point today they played Michigan State. I don't know if that's done or not, but Madison Square Garden, after the Gophers had a basketball game there earlier. A little bit of a guitar solo. We still got the puck. Jensen tries to use the screen. Got a shot through, but hit Wong's pad and gets 20 seconds left in the kill for Wayzata. Jensen still has it on his stick. He works it back to the point. He uses Pejor. Pejor over to Langfells. Jensen's dead tired. He's a little bit out of frame for you to see him, but he could barely get back to the bench. He was so exhausted from carrying the puck. Snapper into the back of the net. It's a seeing eye puck. Langfells puts the Eagles on the board.
Well, it doesn't have to be pretty. It just has to be effective. But nice puck movement by this Eden Prairie squad. They held possession while Jensen got off the ice to get fresh legs. But there you see Langfells just unleashed one, but it didn't cooperate. It kind of fluttered in the net. I think that was kind of a bump and run from young Langfells, but it doesn't matter. They're up 1-0 power play goal. Eden Prairie got some energy. Wayzata has to match that energy, come back and put some pressure back on.
It might have hit North's leg, the defender for Wayzata. Whether it did or not, it tickles the twine, and we've got the Eagles up 1-0. Langfells credited with the goal. We'll listen for the assist. Pejor. Langfells from Pejor. Bart, was that still power play or had it expired? I know it was close.
Well, I would think it was still in the power play, but again, we'll have to wait for perhaps the official scoring. He only repeats it once, so I was concentrating on that, but I think it was on the power play. It looked like the numbers were on there as far as Wayzata being shorthanded. So that's a feather in the cap for the Eden Prairie power play. They're moving the right direction. Wayzata's just a bump in the road. They just have to get back to work.
Well, I'm sure at the end of the period, the sports information director will be bringing us the summary of the statistics.
And we appreciate it.
It's funny, you know, the Olympic level, I was getting those every period. I think I was getting them. I did some junior games recently and was getting summaries after the period. It was very nice. But anyway, it's 4 from 3. Langfells from Pejor. I think the power play was still going, but if not, it was. Okay, it was.
Yep, we did get it validated.
You know, sometimes you have an even strength goal and the guy didn't have time to get back in the play yet.
Sure.
This one was right as the penalty was winding down. So a big goal for the Eagles. Now they got to close out the period if they want to go to intermission with the lead. It's Still 100 seconds left to go, and Trojan setting something up. This pass doesn't connect. Slides under the stick of North, and North has to head south back into his own end to regroup.
Well, I like the response from Wayzata. They just took the puck down and started possessing it and moving it around in the Eden Prairie zone. Minute 25 to make some noise. Both teams want to finish strong, obviously, to finish this period.
North with the dump that ends up hitting player on the Eagle bench. We get a stoppage play. 78 seconds to go in the period. So Bart, Eden Prairie, we've done a few of their games and talked a little bit about their list of alum. Wayzata was a little bit easier, and nothing was as hard as Hermantown, where I couldn't find anyone notable that graduated. But I just did a Blake game, and Franken and Davis, the comedy team. So Al Franken was one of the United States Senators from Minnesota up until his recent resignation. The other senator, Amy Klobuchar, attended Wayzata. Amy Klobuchar. So that's the first one, and I'll have you tell me at the end of our tour of the alums which schools were more impressive. We think Edina edged out Blake because of Ric Flair. It was tough.
The nature boy.
There's a director, I can't remember his name. He did, Hollywood director. He did The Sting and Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, both of which had Paul Newman and Robert Redford. So he was a big-time guy. He did World According to Garp, and the director of Slapshot. Did you know he went to Blake?
I did, actually.
Okay, so you knew.
Paul Newman actually had to get involved in that to bring that home. So I think the director, and his name escapes me right now, but he actually called on Paul Newman, and Paul Newman answered the bell. That's why that movie got produced.
Well, it makes sense. He would. Oh, big save there by Juan.
He wanted to do it. He took a little bit of dough as compensation to make that movie happen. And anybody that has watched that movie appreciates that concession he made, because that was a great movie.
When it makes sense.
Timeless.
It makes sense. His name is George Roy Hill, having worked with Paul Newman, and Butch Cassidy, and the Sting. Let's get back to the action. We get 25 seconds left. Man advantage here for Eden Prairie as they work, trying to find a path. Got an active power play. I like the way they're trying to create some open passing lanes. It's not a static shape. A lot of guys moving. Kind of the same type of power play the Canadian Olympic team's using on the women's side. Just 5 to go. Looks like the period's going to end 1-0 your score. Eden Prairie Eagles with a goal from Langfels, assist to Pejor, lead 1-0. Bart, give me some first period thoughts. We had an evenly played period. What are your thoughts after one?
Well, I like the way that Wayzata responded after Eden Prairie came out with a house of fire and energy. If you're Eden Prairie, you have to be happy that you survived the first 5 minutes after what happened last game. So a couple good checks in the boxes, but I think Wayzata was relevant offensively. I think there's room for improvement. But I think Eden Prairie's playing pretty sound defensively. But I think Wayzata's just got to stay out of the box. You're giving a team that might be sagging on confidence a little bit more confidence to carry that puck, and the more confidence they have, the harder it's going to be to defend. But I think both teams had a pretty good showing. Not a lot of flow to that period, but a lot of effort and some intensity starting to build a little bit. But I like the first period. I look forward to a little bit more boisterous second period, though, a little bit more flow as well.
I want to thank our sponsors. If you're watching us today, it's because of Walzer Toyota. It's because of Tavern on 4 and 5, Shirts Unlimited, and Green Mill Pizza here in Eden Prairie. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in. We're going to take a quick break here, but before we do, I'm going to mention a graduate of Eden Prairie High, 4x100 medal winner in one of the swimming relays. Rachel Bootsma went to Eden Prairie. So far we've got Amy Klobuchar on one side of the ledger and Rachel Bootsma. You'll have to tune in for the remainder of the game to hear some of the others that went to these fine high schools. So got Bart Archer here with me. I'm John Connolly, Brett, our producer. Thanks for watching. We're going to take about 10 minutes and we'll be back for period 2. Welcome back. John Connolly here with Bart Archer from the Eden Prairie Community Center. We have the Wayzata Trojans raring to go. What we don't have are the Eagles.
Lee Smith's pulling the freeze out on him. He's holding his guys in a little longer, but the nice part about that penalty in the final part of the period for Wayzata is they get to play their primary penalty killers for that first 57 seconds, and now they start a man down 1:03 into this second period, so they can go back with their primaries. But getting back to the long line changes, this is the kind of game where there's not going to be a lot of opportunities in the one to cash in, so you have to be particularly solid as far as your line changes on the second period. It's a long way to go, so you have to get the puck deep so you can change the back line. But defending with tired legs is difficult to do in the second period. That's what presents a challenge to both of these coaches, but it promises to be a good second period. I think it's going to open up a little bit too as well, John.
So, Bart, what I saw in that first period on the Wayzata side is their passes tended to not connect. There were passes that either missed the target or they bounced over the stick. And if they're going to right the ship here, I'm going to be expecting that they're going to be able to get some pucks, flat on the tape and connecting and run some possession time. That seemed to be what was missing in the first.
Yeah, it just seems I always talk about rhythm. Teams get into a rhythm just like a drummer and a bass and a guitar and a singer. They have to kind of get on the same page, and once they can get some sequences together, they get confidence. But Eden Prairie's doing a pretty good job of getting on them pretty quick.
Middlestat tries a pass over to Conan. He shoots off the pass, steered aside by Wong. Now they're working to regain control of it. Conan. He hits Irwin. This is Middlestat. Irwin. Back to Jensen. Jensen. He's the one that says, I'm going to take a shot at it. Rebound opportunity down in the slot for Pikowski, but Wayzata manages to get the clear, and we get a whistle. I don't know if someone was in the crease or what.
Well, pretty good work high in the slot. A lot of moving the puck, not a lot of shots, but Jensen finally took the opportunity. They had a big Pikowski in front, creating havoc for Wong. Wong made the initial save, and then Pikowski went to work, but pretty good support by the Wayzata defenders to really limit that opportunity. Just 21 seconds left in the penalty to Dingman.
Wilhite fights the battle over on the far side. Back to the point. This is Pejor. Pejor's shot. Hits a stick and bounces up in the air. Eventually onto a Trojans blade. Clears it out to neutral zone, but not down the length of the ice. Coming the other way. This is Wilhite. Zone entry, 3-on-2. Chips it over in the direction of Smith. Can't keep it on a stick for long, and Trojans are now full strength. Mulrennan lurking out of the box. And it's going to be a challenge here for Eden Prairie, who actually had the power play to get their lines back intact. You'll notice it's Ness, Schmidt, and Mulrennan. Wayzata does have their forward line attacked. Pops over, and this is a quick shot from Wilhite. Wilhite's been very active this shift. Puck winds up right in front of Paul Ranheim on the Eagles bench.
Yeah, Wilhite's one of those sneaky players that can sneak up on the score sheet, but he always is a solid contributor. But good quick shot on Wong, but Wong made a nice reaction save with his blocker and actually pushed the puck into the corner. So really nice job by the Wayzata goaltender when challenged.
So it's Monty, Lyson, and Matthews out for the Trojans. They work against Pikowski, Grain, and Lesko. Pejor goes back into his own end, trying to find a breakout path. Chooses to dump it into the corner, ringing it in the direction of Lesko, but Lesko's got some bodies on him. Boy, that's a big boy. Dingman is, what do you suppose, 6'4" or 5?
Yeah, plus he's got that long stick as well. It was a nice effort by Grain. Had to outrun the big guy to get to that puck, and Grain does have some wheels. But this Grain, Lesko, and Pikowski line, we've talked about it a number of different times. They provide some grit, but they actually can push the puck up the ice, and they did it against a pretty good lineup, this Wayzata Trojan team.
Face-off comes to Wong's right, controlled by the Eagles. A wrist shot there from Conan, hits a stick and bounds up, eventually winding onto the blade of Smith. Smith tries a snapper that hits a pad, bounces into the corner. Breakout opportunity, far side for Tereshevsky. Throws it out to neutral zone. He's out there with Sally and Nelko. This one gets onto the stick of Sally, and he just dumps it down, trying to gain some zone time, even if they concede possession. Conan at the neutral zone with the steal, enters the zone. Chance to take a shot, but a beautiful back check there it was North that got a nice stick check right as he went to snap it off. Down behind the end line. And nice little dipsy-do shot there from Nelko. He goes off. We get some fresh legs. This is Mulrennan from the far side. And the puck goes far over the glass into the netting. And we'll get a face-off to the left of Dietrich.
Well, Mulrennan took a shot from a very shallow angle right side. And it was Dietrich that kicked that puck out. And I think it was Schmidt that did the follow-up, ramped up and out of play. But really a good look by Schmidt. And he's exactly the person that they want in that situation. 7 goals so far on the year, looking to grow that total. Good opportunity for Wayzata.
Faceoff is controlled by the Eagles, who chip it out to neutral zone, but Grain loses possession, and it's the Trojans coming the other way. This is Schmidt, very big and strong, chooses to bang it into the back of the net. He looked over Mulrennan, froze the defender, froze the goaltender, and he took advantage of it. We're tied.
Yeah, a bit of a misplay in the neutral zone just outside this Eden Prairie zone, and then it was Schmidt that brought it in, used Mulrennan as a decoy against Langfels. There you can see just a little bit of a bouncing puck.
Nice play there from Schmidt. No doubt about it. He had
Okay, here we go. And here Schmidt used Mulrennan as a decoy, drew Langfels over, and just put it up and over Dietrich. So now we're not at a 1. Big goal for Wayzata. Eden Prairie's going to have to answer.
Never minded someone that shoots 2-on-1 if they do what he did, which is freeze by looking over at that line mate. If you come in and don't look and just shoot, nobody's going to have a problem with the shot because the goaltender's waiting for it. But the minute you look over, the goaltender's thinking, I gotta come somehow do my side shuffle, and he took advantage of it, freezing Dietrich. We're tied at 1, just 3 minutes into the second period here at Eden Prairie.
I think Langfels actually played it well. He took that pass away and really limited the opportunities. But Schmidt, perfect player at the perfect spot at the perfect time.
Rebound opportunity there, just a little bit wide. That's the one player that I don't have on my game sheet. I have to find out who's wearing 8 for Wayzata. Oh, no penalties called, but bodies are flying, Bart.
Yeah, the intensity's starting to pick up a little bit.
Waggy is wearing 8. Waggy, I don't think he was in the lineup last night. I think they used Schreiner in his place last night. We get an icing call just 4 minutes into period 2, tied up on a goal from Schmidt of Wayzata. Makes it square at 1.
Yeah, and he answers the Langfels goal earlier, but haven't seen too many icings in this period, but muddy waters. But Wayzata actually is the one that is using the energy from that goal and continuing to put heat on Dietrich and the Eden Prairie Eagles in their own zone. So they've done a nice job of sustaining that energy and really making Eden Prairie chase the play a little bit.
Matthews out with Monty and Lyson for the Trojans. He gets a stick on it and actually bounces the puck. It's a rebound. It's into the back of the net. Beautiful goal. Monty from Matthews. And Wayzata takes the lead.
Well, you can kind of see it coming. It looked like Eden Prairie back on their heels a little bit. Got a little straight leg and quit moving their feet. Nice work down low by Matthews. Really waited until that opportunity arose, put the puck right on the stick, up and over to the glove side of Dietrich. Now Wayzata is up by 2, coming into the period down by 1. So obviously Eden Prairie's got to solve this riddle. So far they're struggling.
Luke Monet, what a goal that gives the Trojans a lead after the first period. I mentioned it didn't seem like they were quite able to get anything to connect. That one, it was passed right onto the stick, and boom, before anybody could move, it's into the upper corner. So Trojans now get a chance to play with the lead, and it's Eagles, as they've been through much of the season, playing catch-up.
Well, a lot of times what Eden Prairie does is they just kind of simplify their game a little bit to get back into it.
Jensen, capable of doing a lot on his own, is entering the zone right when he got a little bit of a hook there and lost possession of it, but they do gain the zone and trying to set up their forecheck. Breakout opportunity is thwarted at the point. It hits Pejor in the skate. Into the slot. Nice pass there from Smith. Gets it over to Jensen. Jensen back to Pejor. Oh, this was a defender giving up the body. It was Nelko that went down. The problem with Nelko going down, Bart, is it could have his leg pad gotten by the goalie.
Well, that doesn't hurt, but that's not the first shot he's blocked tonight, and that's kind of a how Wayzata has defended over the last 5 or 6, 7 years. Jensen's going to get a penalty for the Eden Prairie Eagles, so it's going to put Wayzata on the power play. But they've always been notorious for being very stingy in their own zone, getting in front of the shots. And Nelko showed an example why. And it was Trevor Wong, the junior goaltender, that showed his appreciation. But offensive zone face-off for Wayzata. They can increase this lead on the power play. Eden Prairie's got a challenge in front of them to pick up their teammate.
Yeah, the good news for Eden Prairie, about the only good news of that, is Jensen will get a much-needed rest. But now they have to go into the box mode to try to kill off these 2 minutes. Wayzata counters with their top line, Ness, Schmidt, and Mulrennan out there on defense. It is Bergslund, and I believe that is it Anderson with him? No, North. Bergslund and North. North has it far side. Goes back to Bergslund. Bergslund shot covered up by Dietrich. We've got 35 seconds elapsed on the penalty and a face-off coming in the Eden Prairie zone.
Well, Wayzata came in, tried to set up, but Eden Prairie pretty good positioning on that one there. You can see the shot. Dietrich had good sight lines to that, and really a lot of Eden Prairie support in front if there was a second opportunity. So Eden Prairie doing a pretty good job of getting into a penalty-killing flow. You don't want too many opportunities, but you want to at least defend when they present themselves. So far, they've done pretty well.
Matthews out there. This is his first shift after that goal that he assisted upon. And usually, I know when I played, that was always an extra hop in the step. You get a little bit of mojo going, and we'll look to see what he does. Matthews down low. Oh, he was looking for Monet again, but as he stepped out in front, nice defensive play there by Irwin. Oh, and it's a shot right through the screen. He had Irwin as a screen, and it was a nice chance there. Matthews snapped one off, and Dietrich with the save.
Yeah, Dietrich outside his blue. He's a very competent goaltender right now, but used the Eden Prairie defender as a screen, went between his legs, but Dietrich gathered that puck up. But really a pretty good opportunity by Matthews just on top of the left circle.
That kills half of the penalty. We're into the second minute of this man advantage for the Trojans. They trailed 1-0 after a period. Oh, nice weak side play there as they tried to find a streaking North. He caught a little bit of it, but Barty whiffed a tad, and that was the difference, as he certainly had plenty of room in the open net to shoot into before the goalie could get over.
Oh,
empty net goal. Mulrennan to Ness. Ness into the back of a wide open goal. Ness from Mulrennan makes it 3-1.
Well, I think you can add Schmidt to that one as well. Schmidt was the one that really initiated that play, got it over to Mulrennan, and here's Schmidt right here. Good vision, seeing him coming in on the weak side, just back over. Ness redirect in, tic-tac-toe. That's working the triangle to perfection. Now it's 3-1. Wayzata, Eden Prairie's got it. Number one, stay out of the box, and number two, they have to answer back. It doesn't mean they have to score, but they have to start taking back the momentum that they had in that first period. But really some solid work and solid passing by this Wayzata Trojan squad.
Great replay work there by Brett, and great play, as you mentioned, from Schmidt. The puck was on our side, then it goes far side to Mulrennan. Didn't stand a stick at all. Made the pass right over to Ness, and it was more than anyone could track, and Ness has a wide open goal. So Trojans trailed 1-0 after a period. First 7 minutes of this period, they've kind of blown it open. They now lead 3-1.
Well, and that's got to be good for Coach O'Leary, because this isn't a team that has an abundance of offensive talent, so getting behind puts them in kind of a difficult situation. But playing with the lead, this is kind of more in their comfort zone. I'm not saying they're comfortable, but they're going to be able to not relax, but they have a bit of comfort about their game and a little confidence moving forward that they can afford to make a mistake, and it's not going to be a game breaker. And it's amazing how much that frees you up to get into that rhythm that we so much talked about. It looks like they found that.
And Bart, I hate to mention it, it's kind of been a common theme throughout the season, but yet again, Eden Prairie unable to kill the penalty and digs themselves a deeper hole. Shot there from Pikowski, hits the skate, trickles off wide. Breakout opportunity for the Trojans, and they run into Grain. Grain keeps it in momentarily, but eventually it clears. Pikowski goes up near wall to Grain. Grain pops it over to Conan. Conan with a shot that goes just wide and takes a funny, strange bounce. I've seen funny bounces. I've never seen a puck reverse course and come out like that.
Well, and it didn't look like it was off the stanchion. It looked like it was off the board, so even more unusual. But one thing that we'd have a propensity to do, they're going to see a pretty decent shot by Conan, at least a good look. I'm sure he wanted a different shot, but goaltender Wong just wanted to hang on to it. But it just, my train of thought was absolutely lost on that one, but I like the way that Eden Prairie goes about their business, but I really like what Wayzata is doing.
So nice chance there as Jensen streaks in, gets the puck to net, and it's covered up by Dietrich.
I'm sorry. My thought was we're focusing so much on the penalty kill for Eden Prairie, all the negative things. This is a team that's doing a lot of things very, very well, but it's just that one thing, John, that we've talked about previously as well, is that they just shoot themselves in the foot at the wrong particular times. But there's a lot of good things that this Eden Prairie team is doing. They're averaging almost 35 shots on goal per game, so they're getting their looks. They just have to finish a little bit better, but they have to stay out of the box, especially when their penalty kill is struggling like it is.
And as soon as you say that, just a big, heavy hit there from Jensen. No call, but he's certainly looking to throw the body around. Yeah. Hey, Bart, did you know Middlestat just scored?
Oh, Casey. Okay.
Yeah, my phone just vibrated. It's a goal for the Gophers. They lead Michigan State 1-0. Casey Middlestat last year playing for these Eagles, now with the University of Minnesota. And a lot of chatter, Bart, a lot of chatter about a third Middlestat down on the Bantam team coming up. And, likely varsity player maybe even as soon as next year. So quite a hockey family. We've got, I think it's John Middlestat, the sophomore, out with us today wearing number 9. And he's having a great year. He's got 7 goals, 6 assists already.
Well, and he doesn't just contribute on the score sheet. There's a lot of things that he does quite well. He can scoot around the ice in a hurry. There is a whistle, and I think we're going to get a penalty on Wayzata, which is a great opportunity for Eden Prairie. And I think that's going to be on Nelko, going to go to the box. And it looks like it's going to be an interference penalty. So really a gift for this Eden Prairie squad. We're about halfway through the second period. Eden Prairie down 3-1, so they're down by 2, but they get a great opportunity on the power play.
Great work by our cameraman, Todd Grover, and great work by our producer, Brett Johnson. It was interference, Bart. It was for taking out Dietrich. Nelko goes off for running over Dietrich. Oh, nightmare to start the power play as it's a breakaway going the other way. Dingman eventually skates into the corner. He just didn't quite have the wheels to break toward the goal. But nonetheless, they get it down the length of the ice, and that'll take off about 25 seconds from this. We're at 20 seconds. Conan through the neutral zone. Keeps it in a stick for a long time. He's got his head up, but he's trying to find a teammate. Eventually chips it back to the point where it's kept in by Irwin. Irwin comes over to Middlestat. Middlestat to Jensen. Jensen to Middlestat. Middlestat's shot rings wide and kept in here by Irwin. Irwin tries to get it over to Jensen. It pops out to the neutral zone. Nice active stick there from Matthews, and he'll kill off another 20 seconds or so. Just 70 seconds remaining in this man advantage as Eden Prairie desperately trying to get one back here. They trail 3-1.
Eden Prairie very aggressive defending. Their position's pretty good, but they're getting after the puck, really not allowing Eden Prairie to get inside the dots, and that's ultimately what the goal has been.
Pikowski to Conan, back to Pikowski, and he whistles one through the slot, but it doesn't quite get on goal. Back to the point, Middlestat to Irwin. Irwin looks over. He likes the Conan option. Conan gets bodied off the puck. That's Anderson for the Trojans. Anderson fighting it back. Looks like he can fight this one by himself. He's a big boy in there with 3 white jerseys. Eventually does come out to Jensen. Jensen goes back to the point to Middlestat. Middlestat shoots a low shot, hits a skate, winds up on the stick of Jensen. Jensen comes over to his backhand, chooses to use the point, and it's a wraparound goal into the back of the net. Chris Conan, the Barbarian, makes it 3-2. Eagles still trail, but a beautiful goal by Conan.
Well, that's exactly what they needed. That's his 5th goal of the season for Conan, but and his 2nd power play goal of the season as well. But he beat the goaltender Wong to that open net. Nice wraparound. Good cognizant, good knowledge by that player. Good vision. It was Irwin that actually initiated that shot, but there you can see Conan really closing the gap on that one, putting it into an open goal, giving Eden Prairie a little bit of life. Now it's up to Wayzata to answer.
If they do award assists, it's going to be Irwin on the shot from the point. Conan got the rebound, and maybe a pass before that from Jensen.
Oh, boy.
Nice goal there, answering right back. Schmidt, before the ink is even dry on that last one, Schmidt puts Wayzata up 4-2.
And I think for Schmidt, that's the 2nd goal of the game, his 9th of the season. But what a strong answer by this Trojan team. Eden Prairie, you have to feel a little bit unfortunate. They finally got some positive energies, and Wayzata went in and took it right away. But look at that. There's Mo Rennan, a little drag on that one, just forked it over. But Eden Prairie's got to tend their own zone far better. better positioning. You have to stay between the puck and the person, the target. They failed to do so, but Wayzata back up 4-2.
See, you mentioned it's second goal of the game for Schmidt. Second assist of the game for Mulrennan. Mulrennan assisted moments ago on Ness's goal. This one's into the back of the net, and I think that one's going to be credited to probably Lesko. Lesko makes it 4-3. Bart, I'm going to go down between periods and request that they slow things down a little bit because we just had 3 goals, 2 for the Eagles, 1 for the Trojans. I bet it was in less than 25 seconds.
Yeah, you got to be a court stenographer to keep up with this, but again, a good answer by Eden Prairie. Things have kind of opened up a little bit the last, as you said, minute or 2. But I think it's going to be Lesko that's going to get his 4th of the season, but what a big goal it was. He's a hard-working player. But there you can see it on the replay. Oh boy, things are starting to open up a little bit. Boy, some muddy work along the half wall. That's one of the battles that Eden Prairie won along that wall. Got it back out in front and beat Wong. 5:46 left in Fire Wagon hockey. Just threw that in for you, John.
A point shot from Horton. Horton had not been playing much for this team. Horton, number 39. I'm not sure who gets the assist. There was a rebound left there. Juicy one as Lesko pounces on it, and he makes it 4-3. Right now we've got a little exchange of address. Try to get those Christmas cards out. Conan goes off for the Eagles, and for Wayzata, that's Lyson. We'll play 5-on-5, but we lose a couple players.
Yeah, they just got a little emotional, kind of slapping sticks. Referee's doing a good job of keeping control of the situation, but it's going to be coincidental, so we're going to be 5-on-5, but a couple big prominent players in the box for an extended period of time.
Oh, stretch pass there doesn't quite connect. A little bit too far for Matthews. We'll get an icing call and a retreat back into the Trojans' end. So, Bart, the game's a little closer, right? It was 3-1 just moments ago. Trojans leading the Eagles. And then the little flurry of activity. But the end result is a much closer game than we had just moments ago.
Well, and that's good. Obviously, Eden Prairie feeling a little bit down, but came back with some energy. But these are two teams that struggle to score goals. I think for Wayzata, it's 3.18 goals per game, and for Eden Prairie is 3.5. So we're 4-3 right now, halfway, pretty much just past the halfway mark. So I think we still have some fun to look forward to as well.
Yeah, 5 minutes to go in the second period. Ring pass hits a strange bounce and pops out into the slot onto the stick of Jensen. He's dangerous wherever he is, especially when he gets close to the goal. Jensen tries to get control of the bouncing puck, and it winds up going over to North. North tries to break out past to Mulrennan. Mulrennan pulls it back in, tries a chip pass out to neutral. This connects Schmidt. Schmidt's got Ness. Over to Ness. Ness back to Mulrennan. Cuts over to his forehand, and a shot that's on goal, but easily covered up by Dietrich, face off to his left.
Well, Mulrennan did a nice zone exit on that, just floated one up so Schmidt could skate into it. But this is a very dynamic line for this Wayzata team tonight so far. They're moving the puck quite well. They're pushing it up in a hurry and really creating some pressure on this Eden Prairie defense. They're going to have to get the forwards to come back and help, because this team this line has been very difficult for Eden Prairie to contain.
Nice exit pass. Jones hits a streaking Wilhite. Wilhite enters, tries to get it back to Jones. It slides up under his stick, and it's cleared out to neutral zone by the Trojans. Eventually comes over near side. Wilhite throws it down. They're going to try to establish their forecheck. Retreating in his own end, it's Bergslund. Bergslund knocked off the puck, and it's picked up by a forechecking Middlestat. Middlestat over to Jones. Tries to get it through to Wilhite, but bounces over his stick.
That was a pretty good challenge by Sally on that one. Otherwise, it might have been an Eden Prairie goal.
Nice breakout pass there. Quick little touch, and they're out of the zone. Lesko up ahead to Sally. Sally fighting a battle, winds up turning it over in the direction of a teammate, Bardowski Tereshevsky.
Well, that was a nice goal. It happened in a hurry, and I think Dietrich kind of caught back in his crease. Gave him a little bit of room, but he just went right up under the bar. That's his second goal of the season. Boy, you think somebody with that kind of hands and that kind of skill has more on the docket, but that's going to obviously bring some excitement, but he just went right up under the bar.
So I'm guessing it's going to be an assist credited to Sally, if at all, but Bardowski Tereshevsky with the goal.
Well, look at the way that he uses his body to protect against Wilhite on that one. But just a really, really nice sequence for this Trojan. Now they're back up by 2.
Oh, danger zone. Wong is down. He's lost his helmet. We got a whistle. They're begging for a call, and oh, it's Branton that just leveled him. There's got to be someone now. If they don't call something for bumping into Wong,
well,
maybe they didn't see it. But you can't let that one go.
I think he let him into him. And look at how far he is outside the crease. He went out to play the puck, and he didn't have any options as far as where to go. I hope there's not a penalty, at least on the initial contact.
I don't think there is, Bart. What I'm saying is what you're about to see that follows can't go uncalled. The Blant just smoked him.
Oh, I don't disagree with that.
Smoked him.
I don't disagree with that. I thought we were talking about the initial call, but
well, that's what Blant's upset about.
Yeah, well,
Branton. So we'll see what happens here.
Well, the initial reaction is to protect your goaltender and send a message. You can't have people take liberties on your backstopper, but again, you have to have some semblance of discipline on that one. We'll see how this unfolds, but it would be kind of a tough situation for the referees. They're going to get together and huddle about it. Hopefully they'll just make the right call, but you can see everybody waiting, very interested to see how this is going to go.
Lobbying.
Well, this could be a very pivotal moment to this game. I mean, Eden Prairie down by 2. If they go on the power play, then it changes the complexion, but if they leave well enough alone, I don't want to say it sends a message to the kids, but I think there has to be some form of discipline here. And I'm not saying that somebody should be shorthanded, but they've done such a good job of keeping control of this game. They have that to continue.
We're watching the game in real time. We're not always in the right angle to see stuff, and occasionally we have to look down to catch notes. I didn't see everything that happened. There has to be a penalty coming up to Brant. Whatever else happens, that's that one I'm not clear on. But I'm pretty sure we're going to see number 20 Blue retrieved out of the bench, put in the box, and I don't know what else. But I'll be stunned if there's not a minor on Brant.
Well, then prepare to be stunned because it doesn't look like anybody's going to the box at this point. We look like we're going to be 5-on-5. I think if you're an Eden Prairie coach, you're kind of wondering how that actually transpired, but we're just going to move forward. Hopefully there won't be any ill effects from this or residual effects from this. 3:39 to go in the second period. Trojans up by 2, but Eden Prairie showing a little bit of fight right now, but they have to get some possession, put some pressure on Wong.
So the obvious question, Bart, is what they have to stop the game to talk about. If you're not going to call the penalty for taking out the goalie, which, like you said, was probably just incidental contact.
Sure. And
not going to call the penalty for standing up for your goaltender and smoking him in full view of at least one of the 2 officials, referees. What they talk about it? I'm curious, but we'll never know.
Well, I think when Wong, he tried to sell it a little bit. You obviously want him to be happy. But a consensus opinion between referees is not the worst thing in the world, as long as they get the call right and everybody can kind of move forward. And it looks like nobody's worse for the wear.
We play on, and it's even strength. Ness enters the zone, a little bit too far from Morenin, and it was Schmidt on the other side looking for the hat trick. Didn't quite get enough of it. Stick breaks right in the shaft.
Worst time.
So now it's 5-on-4.5 as we have rendered Bergsland less than fully efficient without a stick. He hops over to the bench. And was that a stretch pass? They hit Morenin. Morenin enters the zone, weak side, trying to get over to his forehand. Nice back check there. It's kind of that stuff. Oh, line change. Smith coming the other way. Uses Conan, and it bounces over his stick. But Bart, you said it when we came back for second period. It's like, oh, that long shift.
Yeah.
The long line change.
And I knew it would open up. I didn't know it would be this wide open. It was kind of fun.
Oh, back of the net. Rebound goal. Wayzata goes up on a goal by Lyson. I think it was Ness with the original shot. I think it's not Lyson from Ness.
Well, he got the zone. Dietrich made the initial save. You can see it coming in. Boy, big rebound on that one. Irwin.
Juicy rebound.
Irwin had pretty good positioning. He just couldn't catch up with that puck. But, sometimes a shot on goal is a good play, but a nice follow-up again by Lyson. That's his 8th goal of the season. Wide open net. Point of concern for Eden Prairie. They're just the speed of these Wayzata forwards is a factor that they haven't been able to figure out.
You mentioned Irwin. There's nothing you can do. The Irwin's in position. Oh, it's a scoring chance the other way from Jones. You mentioned Irwin. He's in the right position, but nothing you can do when the goaltender's unable to get over quick enough, and the puck bounces out that fast right onto the tape of a guy entering the zone. So Nonetheless, Lyson puts Wayzata up 6-3. It's been a wild and woolly one. At the end of one, the score was 1-0 Eden Prairie Eagles. If you just joined us, that means there have been 8 goals this period. Bart and I are having trouble, or at least I'm having trouble keeping up with them.
And there's still time to go in this period as well.
Minute and a half plus remains, and it would be very significant if Eagles could get one here to cut into that margin. They don't want to go down 6-3. There are no field goals in high school hockey. They have to get them back one at a time, and 3 scores is quite a bit. So, big hit there out at the neutral zone right in front of us. That's Lesko throwing the body around. Coming up the far side, it's Pejor. Gains the red line, dumps it down to the end wall. We're at 70 seconds remaining in this period, and the Eagles all of a sudden playing with quite a bit of desperation. There's certainly a sense of urgency this shift, Bart.
Well, indeed, there's good focus on this. They're trying to push the puck ahead, but I just think that this Wayzata team's playing a very comfortable brand right now, and they're positioning solid, so they just get the puck into safety and go to work from there. But Eden Prairie's got about 50 seconds to really have a nice showing. Just you want to finish the period strong, and so far it's Wayzata that's really flexed their offensive muscles.
45 seconds remains in the second period. Wayzata on a flurry of goals. Scoring summary for them, the goals were Schmidt, Monty, Ness, Schmidt, Tarashevsky, and Lyson. Has a nice lead. Eden Prairie goals today have been scored by Langfels, Conan, and Lesko. 35 seconds remains. Coming out is Ness, circling the situation, surveys, decides I'm going to keep it for a little while, tries a little touch pass in the middle to Schmidt that doesn't connect. He keeps it on a stick, gets it back from the point. North uses him. And nice breakaway opportunity to close the period. Here comes Jensen. He's got time. Hits the post and it bounces out. They can get it one more time down to Jensen. There's a hit from behind. That's going to be on Schmidt.
And there was no real reason for doing that.
This one's not over with. Well, this one's not over with. That's, I think, looks like Zedlik. Is it no, 9 or 19? That's 9. That's Harrison.
Well, Garrett Smith was a recipient of that, but I think it was Colin Schmidt that really a bit of an irresponsible play. Jensen, he's emotional right now, and he's probably wondering why. We're going to take another. And there's the Jensen breakaway.
He's got 19 seconds at this
point.
Watch
the over pursuit by Eden Prairie. If it follows up, they just get past the puck and just have to play catch up. They did get a follow-up opportunity, and that's when all heck broke loose. But Schmidt's going to the box for Wayzata, which we kind of figured.
Harrison. Schmidt, Harrison on one side.
And then it's going to be Smith. For what Smith got a penalty for, I'm not 100% sure. But he was the recipient of that, but I don't think he was really doing anything too out of the ordinary. But, wow, what a series of events in the closing moments of the second period.
You know, if you're the Eagles right now, down 3, certainly the goal there would have been, little momentum boost going into the intermission. They'd have been down 6-4. They didn't get the goal. They got, like you said, they got the dinner bell.
But that's a positive, though. I mean, that's
positive.
They beat the goaltender. It's just an unfortunate situation for them.
But they're hoping right now that they're going to get carryover penalty that gives them a power play to start this final period, because
and I think they deserve it, really.
I think we're going to see that. I also just saw an instance where somebody got a flat-out smoke in front of the referee. We got 2 referees. It was in front of at least one of them, and
John,
nothing was called.
The problem that I had with it was from behind, and that's kind of a dangerous play, especially when you're by the dasher or by the wall. And I've seen Colin Schmidt for a couple games, and that's not the style that he plays. He plays a very honest game, not malicious. He plays a tough game, but that was just a little bit more than I think that I expected to see from him. But we're going to see how this sorts out. But I'd have to imagine that Eden Prairie's going to get a bit of an advantage out of this. But if they don't, we play on. You just have to deal with the situation and move forward without looking too far back. But just 9 seconds left. What the coaches can do is just finish this 9 seconds, regardless of how it actually plays out. Get everybody kind of centered and grounded again and get back to work. A lot of distractions in this last 5 minutes.
So, Bart, last time they talked about it for a long time. They didn't put anybody in the box. This time they put 4 people in the box, and then they wanted to talk about it.
Yeah.
So what are they talking about? You already decided these guys, is it one minor or a double minor, or does that merit a major? Maybe that's the discussion, but it's been odd, the powwow, the timing of these discussions, because they've already put 4 people in the box.
Right, but I think that without anything noted on the scoreboard as far as an advantage, I think Lee Smith wants some qualification. It was Garrett Smith that actually got hit from behind and then worked over pretty good. He was actually picked up and pushed to the ice, and really it was a retaliation that maybe Eden Prairie was guilty of, but I think that it was Wayzata that spearheaded it a little bit. Got a little bit more emotional than I expected, but again, kind of a unique situation in the closing moments of the second period.
Score, if you just joined us, Wayzata Trojans on the heels of 6 second period goals lead 6-3. The Eagles had a 1-0 period at the first intermission, but the second period, I don't want to say it's been all Wayzata because they did give up 2 goals. Eden Prairie did score 2, but the second period has been Wayzata's period, and they have really jumped on them hard. 6 goals in a game is impressive. 6 goals in a period is wow.
Yeah, especially the way they went about it too. I mean, they weren't cheapies at all. They really played the tic-tac-toe game, working the triangle really, really well, and just forcing Eden Prairie to kind of chase the play, and they just couldn't catch up with it. Looks like they are going to get the extra, or at least 3 in the box as opposed to 2 for Eden Prairie, but nothing on the board.
So there's 3 Trojans in the box, nothing on the board, and 2 players from Eden Prairie in the box. So unfortunately for the Eagles, as this period winds down, that's big hit. They called that. They called a penalty on Langfels. Now they won't be man up going into the third. They'll be a man down.
And that's the frustration. That's the consequence of that type of situation when there's no accountability for the previous play, then emotions get amok, and those are the kind of things that happen. Langfels, again, not a dirty player in any way, shape, or form, stepped up and really kind of blew him up a little bit, but the referee's arm went up in a hurry, so now Eden Prairie's going to be a man down. If I were Lee Smith, I'd be a little bit fired up right now. But again, yes, it may have been a penalty, but with what transpired previous to that, it's a kind of a little bit of a head scratcher.
I want to thank everybody for watching. We've got our sponsors, Tavern on 4 and 5.
We've got one going on here today.
Green Mill in Eden Prairie, Walzer Toyota, and Shirts Unlimited. We're going to take a quick break for the second intermission. Trojans lead the Eagles 6-3 here at Eden Prairie Community Center. I'm John Connolly here with Bart Archer. We'll be back in about 10 or 12 minutes.
And we're back. This is John Conley, joined by Bart Archer from Eden Prairie Community Center. Today is Hockey Day in Minnesota. My phone said the Gophers are up over Michigan State 1-0 on a Middlestat goal. The monitor out in the lobby showed the Wild were up 1-0 at home against the Lightning. Bart, I think Edina's up 4-1 over Hill Murray. You said it's a hat trick already for Mason Nevers?
Yeah, I think they finished the first period scoreless, and then Edina kind of broke it open. It was Mason Nevers with a hat trick, and Borst scored the fourth. I don't know who got the Hill Murray goal, but Edina playing in a very tough place to play at Aldrich Arena against a pretty good squad has an advantage. But again, they have a full period to go, which we have a full period to go here as well. And if it's anything like the second period, it promises to be very exciting. Now, try to pay attention to the public address announcer. It's very difficult audio-wise to hear it, but I know that there was one Wayzata Trojan that got the game misconduct. I think Schmidt got a 10 minutes, so there's going to be some Trojans that are going to be not only missing for the remainder of the period, but some are going to be missing for at least a 10-minute chunk. But Eden Prairie has their work cut out for him, taking a penalty as Langfelsen took that penalty late in that period. So Wayzata gets to start this period 5-on-4.
So you mentioned possibly Ryan Suter from Stahl and Parisi. The Wild are ahead 2-0 now. So
Suter, huh?
Yeah, so they got the home team playing one of the better, if not the best, NHL team in the Lightning this year, and the Wild are looking good so far. So anyway, it's going to be interesting. The Eagles are a capable team. They just beat number 1 Duluth East. They're down 6-3, but you mentioned the Trojans doing without a few of their more experienced players. Schmidt, for example, already a NCAA Division I commitment, and maybe, just maybe, once the Eagles kill this, they'll be able to claw their way back into it.
Yeah, well, and they proved that they can play from behind. It just obviously 3 goals down is a pretty tall order as it stands. And starting the period, a man down is not making their path any easier, so to speak. But Wayzata has a golden opportunity to really take the wind out of whatever energy and focus that Eden Prairie got between periods. But boy, both coaches probably had a difficult time getting people back on point. These are very familiar teams. Emotions run amok, but hopefully we can have some discipline in this period and see what these teams are capable of. But Eden Prairie behind the 8 ball early.
So Wayzata comes out with Mulrennan and Ness. They're now joined by Zedlik because Schmidt is in the box. They'll be out in the power play going the other way. Jones looking to kill with Grain, Irwin, and... All right.
Krebsbach?
Yeah, he didn't dress last time we came here. That's 5. Krebsbach? Yeah, Austin Krebsbach. I don't think he dressed last week when we did the Duluth East game. Mulrennan, snapper, gobbled up by Dietrich. So, Bart, want to thank our sponsors, Tavern on 4 and 5. It's not too far from the rink, a walking distance if you're so inclined.
I drove by it. It looks like business is pretty good.
Green Mill in Eden Prairie, Walzer Toyota, and Shirts Unlimited. So I want you to be thinking about our Shirts Unlimited player of the game as we get later into the third.
Plenty of prospects to choose from. We'll see how she unfolds the final 16:37.
Coming up through the neutral zone, this is Ness. Gains the blue, cuts to his forehand, but loses the puck. Chases it down along the wall. Rings the boards. Mulrennan gathers it up and works back to the point. Little Sutton to Youngblood between Berglund and Mulrennan. What is that, three back and forth?
Yeah.
Mulrennan now takes it down to the end wall looking for Ness. Ness circling out, stepping in, and a shot up wide. Comes out far side. This is North. North banks the pass to Mulrennan. Mulrennan, ooh, little dipsy dangle. Clips it over to Ness. Ness surveys the situation, comes back to the point. So far, they've just been working the perimeter, having trouble getting anything good toward goal. Berglund says, I'm going to change that. Easily swallowed up. Notice it's not Dietrich in goal.
Yeah, in fact, they put Ben Boulis in, the sophomore goaltender. Had a pretty good showing in a game that we did previously, but Dietrich, it certainly wasn't his fault. I just think that they needed kind of a change. Sometimes just changing the goaltender can kind of get a bit of a refocus, but not great opportunities on the power play so far by Wayzata, but Eden Prairie doing a pretty good job position-wise of defending.
So if you joined us late after one period. It was Eden Prairie 1-0. Wayzata scored 6 in the second to take a 6-3 lead. Bullis now in goal for Eden Prairie. And, we talked about what they needed to win, and Dietrich was the Shirts Unlimited player of the game last Saturday as they upset Duluth East. And today, they, not necessarily his fault, but, 6 goals going past the goaltender. Things obviously didn't go their way, and a chance for Bullis to come in and see if he can right the ship. And fortunately for the Eagles, Bart, they're going to kill this first penalty. Just 10 seconds remain, and they will be back to 5-on-5.
Well, and that's got to lift the bench a little bit. But really, they just need something positive to happen. Get their energy level back up to where it needs to be. There's 15 minutes left, certainly within reason, but they just have to get on their horse and get back to playing Eagles hockey.
Middlestat flies to the neutral zone, tries to take it wide and get around the defender. Pretty tall core of defender. Anderson looks like he's about average size out there. He must be going at least 6'1".
Yeah, he did a nice job position-wise of forcing Middlestat off that puck.
Conan back to the point. Snapper from Irwin, and it's a big rebound. Unable to clear it are the Trojans, and it's kept in by a streaking Pikowski. Goes on guitar solo and brings it back to the point. Irwin works it down in the direction of Middlestat. Back to Irwin. Keeps it in at the blue line, but not for long as it's out to Dingman. Gains the blue, gains the red, loses the puck as he enters the zone, and we're coming the other way. Conan at neutral zone, trying to get the puck into the center to a streaking Pikowski. Doesn't quite connect. This comes out to the neutral zone. Hey, Bart, I want you to take notice of just in front of us. Remember last week when the glass was shattered before the Duluth East game? They replaced it with a different color.
Sure.
And had square edges. They came back and replaced it again with something that matches.
Yeah, that other one was a little more transparent, a little bigger, but it served the purpose. We got on with that game, but they did right the ship, putting the proper glass in.
25 minutes for those wondering how long does it take to get back going. I thought they were very efficient. A crew of about 5 tackled it. And fortunately today we're running right on schedule. It didn't have any big delays like that, maybe 10 minutes because the JV game ran over or something, but nothing unusual. So Eden Prairie down in their own end working a breakout. This is a pass that doesn't quite connect with Jones. Scoring chance for Mulrennan in the backhand, and he whistles it into the slot, but unable to get it past the goaltender, Bullis. Oh, boy, that was just danger. You saw Jones waiting for the puck to catch up to him, but he was skating at the same rate. He kept looking over his shoulder. I was worried he was going to get leveled there, blindsided.
Well, Eden Prairie's been pretty efficient coming out of their zone. Recently, it's Wayzata that jumps the route. You can't necessarily wait for the puck to catch up to you. You have to make a play, but Wayzata doing a nice job of anticipating, stepping up, and interrupting Eden Prairie's stride through the neutral zone. If they can continue to do that, the task at hand becomes even greater for this Eden Prairie squad. Offenses don't face off for Wayzata. They get the big boppers on.
Ness in the face-off circle for Wayzata, unable to get control of it for long, and it's Jensen coming the other way. Jensen tips it ahead, looking for Lesko. Lesko down into the corner. Fights a battle with the aforementioned Anderson. This was a scrum in front of the net. Body's flying, and the puck is bouncing around, but unable to get it into the goal. Eventually pops out to neutral zone. Horton plays D-to-D to Pejor, who dumps it down the end of the ice, and now we've got the Eagles tagging up in the neutral zone. Here comes Ness. Ness gains the red, chips it down to the end wall, and they get a line change. Only one in pursuit is Zedlik. Zedlik getting a chance to skate with the top line as they're working without the services of Schmidt due to the misconduct penalty. Yeah, looks like he's got a few more left to serve. He's the only one left in the box, Bart.
Yeah, he should be back out around the 7-minute mark. But both, aside from Schmidt in the box for Wayzata, the Eden Prairie box is clear. So both teams with at least who's available, a full complement at their disposal. Wayzata doing a nice job of keeping the puck in the Eden Prairie zone, forcing them to come the whole route. And they've done a great job of congesting the neutral zone, which Trojan teams have been known to do. Eden Prairie just got to get some semblance of rhythm, but now they get at least a full complement to at least give that a try.
North kept it in at the point, rang it in behind the goal. Lyson in pursuit, but they couldn't keep it for very long. It gives the Eagles a chance to break out. Pikowski got it to neutral zone, lost it, and now Eagles are pinned back to the run. This one chips to the blue line and out, but dumped immediately back in by North. Trojans tag up, and danger. Middlestat tried to play it with his skate to his stick, but it took a bounce right onto a Trojan stick, and he shot it just wide.
The defender from Eden Prairie kind of put it in the skates, kind of put him into a challenging situation, but what a great opportunity it was for Wayzata, but really put some pressure on Ben Poulis, who's coming in relatively cold into this third period.
So, Bart, 8 goals last period. We really didn't have a chance to talk about much else. Graduates of Wayzata, second in the Boston Marathon. I think it was 1982. Dick Beardsley went to Wayzata. So
absolutely.
Dick Beardsley, and as we've mentioned, there's not a great list for Eden Prairie. The Ferg is the character's name on a TV show called Longmire, the actor that plays the Ferg on Longmire. He went to Eden Prairie. Also, I know you're going to love this one. You remember the Road Warriors? Hawk and Animal?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so Animal's son, James Laurinaitis, OSU and then an NFL linebacker.
St. Louis Rams.
Yeah, Laurinaitis. James went to Wayzata, and we mentioned Sergeant Slaughter went to Eden Prairie at some point. Robert Remus is his name. And evidently, this is a pretty big deal, Bart. It's just not a world I'm familiar with. HGTV star David Bronstad from Wayzata. He won one of their reality competitions, and then I guess he was pretty popular. So he's had 3 shows on HGTV. Wayzata graduate David Bronstad. Who knew?
Well, good for him.
Good for him. Back to the game here. 11:14 remains. We've chiseled away about 5.5 minutes out of the period, and Eden Prairie's been able to work off that deficit. They still trail 6-3. Ness on the forecheck. He's bodied up by Irwin. This puck rings. Jensen brings it over near wall. Breakout opportunity on our side to Smith. He works back to Pejor. Gets it back up to Smith, and we're out to neutral zone. Jensen. He plays Pejor. Pejor dumps it down the length of the ice, and they'll try to set up some zone time. Lesko on the forecheck. Pejor waits for everyone to tag up. We get an offside call as a little straggler there for Eden Prairie, yet to clear the zone.
Well, then that might be the first time they've actually challenged Wong in this period. We're over 6 minutes, and we're at 6:25 of this first period, and I think that was the first shot. It's not even an official registered shot because of the offsides, but Eden Prairie being down by 3, I thought obviously they started the period shorthanded, but I thought there would be a little bit more offensive zone time for this Eden Prairie squad playing desperate hockey. So far, Wayzata has been very responsible defensively.
Wayzata, I will say, once they got it, they have played very well with the lead. They've given up a couple goals, but they've really played well with the lead, continuing to apply pressure. They definitely, not content to milk the lead. They've been pretty aggressive, really, since the start of the second period.
Well, the thing that I'm kind of impressed about, and that's something that's Wayzata's mantra for many, many years, is once they get the lead, they go into that shutdown defense. But I just like the style that they haven't really changed. They haven't gone into a defensive shell. They just keep coming at this Eden Prairie team in the wave, so they haven't changed their game, but they're still the forerunner in this game, and they've been very effective so far.
Bring it out to neutral zone as Pikowski gains the, nice little check there, but unfortunately a leg caught him as he went for the hip check. Gives the Eagles a much-needed power play.
Well, but they have to take advantage of it. Hovering around the 18-19% mark, it's not a given, but Eden Prairie down on the shot total so far, and this is a team that's averaged 35 shots on goal per game into this game. Wayzata, obviously a good defensive squad, but Eden Prairie, what a great opportunity it is right now to put some pressure on Wong and maybe punch one and get some energy going. There's still plenty of time, but a really good time to get things going for if you're an Eagles fan.
Face-off won by the Eagles, back to Middlestat. Middlestat's shot is covered up by Wong. It was good for Wong that he was able to get the cover, because about 3 Eagles there ready to pounce on a juicy rebound if there was any loose puck.
Yeah, and I think it had to go about 8 legs in blue socks as well. So Middlestat, a very effective shot, found its way to the net, but Wong made kind of a challenging save. I don't know if he really had good sightlines on that puck.
Pikowski won the face-off last time. This time he does not. Trojans get the clear all the way back down. This is played by Bullis, and a little bit of back and forth. What I always called the Gnip-Gnop, if you remember that game from your childhood.
Indeed, I do.
And now it's a rink-wide pass that doesn't quite connect and actually gets whistled down for icing. So Bart, at some point, I don't know that it was every year of his existence, but at some point, that was a minor penalty in the World Hockey Association. Icing on the power play. I think that's a great rule. If you are that inept that you're icing it on the power play,
Well,
we're going to stick you with a minor.
I think that's horribly unfair. That puck bounced actually over his stick. I mean, I like the way that they kind of thought outside the box, but you can't hold them accountable for a puck bouncing like that.
Speaking about outside the box, I think it's a league with Charlie O'Finley as one of the owners, so that goes without saying. You need to have the red baseball and the orange baseball for the A's.
Trying new things.
Middlestat. Oh, and it's a clap bomber into the top corner. Irwin! Mac Daddy top shelf. It's now 6-4.
Well, and I'm not sure Wong saw that, but a big clapper by Irwin. He did that in the game against Minnetonka just the other night. So if they can get their defense into the offensive flow, that bodes very, very well for Lee Smith and the Eagles. But what a big goal that was on the power play for Irwin. Just up blocker side under the bar.
So Middlestat makes a pass and it comes over to Irwin. I can't quite get the number on that right point, but looks like it's one of the Eden Prairie captains.
Oh, it's Jensen.
Jensen.
Yeah, it was Jensen. Middlestat to Jensen to Irwin.
Well, Bart, we go to intermission. It's 6-3. Eagles have a penalty to kill. You know, if you said, how are they going to get back in the game? Well, the first thing they got to do is kill the penalty, and then they got to score kind of shortly thereafter. Sure enough, Wayzata takes a penalty. They get the power play goal. Now it's 6-4. We've still got 9 minutes to go. They're in this game.
But look at the energy now that Eden Prairie, they have some spunk in their step. They're behind the defenseman. They're working the wall, showing some energy. And Wayzata's doing a nice job of battling. They have the they got to disengage.
Stretch past him, Moran, a little bit beyond his reach. I want our cameraman Todd, when we go back, if Todd can just get the penalty box for a moment, because one of the things that I think is significant about this game, it's not your normal 6-4 game with 8:29 to go, Bart. Number 3 still over there for a little bit while longer for the Trojans.
Yeah, another minute 29. Can't wait to get him back. But this is a great opportunity for the Eden Prairie team, but it just looks like they have a better focus now and better purpose in going about their business.
And I must confess, I'm not sure what all happened at the end of the period. If he was assessed a minor in addition to the 10-minute misconduct, he's going to be out until the 5-minute mark. We'll see when they finally let him out. Obviously, it's first whistle, too. So Eden Prairie has a little bit more time before one of the senior captains for Eden Prairie, for Wayzata, comes back and rejoins the force. Shovel the length of the ice. They wave off icing. I'm not sure why. Scrum along the wall, and it's forechecking Lyson that gets the puck out to the slot, but they lose possession, and it's Pikowski coming the other way. He enters wide. He's got Grain in the slot and left side. He's out there with Jensen. The line's a little bit discombobulated here for the Eagles, but if that's a chance to get Jensen a little bit more ice time, they'll definitely benefit as long as he's got the legs to stay out there. He's one of the top goal scorers in the state.
Yeah, and he can create and make other players better. But I like the fact that Pikowski's out there with Grain and Jensen. But like you said, trying to get as much ice time as he can for the goal scorer.
Speaking of Grain, he makes the drop pass. Pikowski fakes the shot and takes the second one. This one whistles wide back to the point. Shot there from
Eden Prairie's winning some battles along the wall.
They're getting deeper on the line chart. Have you noticed we've got Austin Kresbach out there again and Horton? These are players that did not play at all last weekend.
Well, penalty on Monty for interference, I believe. So Eden Prairie right back on the power play. Wayzata's not doing themselves any favors by taking penalties away from the play. And that was a neutral zone penalty, so another great opportunity for Eden Prairie.
Monty goes off. We get a little bit of a delay here as there's a timeout called. I think it's called by O'Leary of Wayzata, wanting to shape up their penalty kill. 7:14 remains, still plenty of time. Eagles trail 6-4, but they're about to go on the power play.
Yeah, and if you look at the big hitters in the box, I mean, you have Schmidt in the box and you have Monty in the box as well. Those are two very big offensive forces for this Wayzata team, but being up by 2, they don't really need them. It's not critical that they're out there. They're going to get them back here pretty soon, but it just comes back to Eden Prairie. They have to, they really have to have something positive to happen, because it looks like they kind of have Wayzata on the ropes a little bit. Now they're dictating the play and Wayzata's chasing the play. So really a great opportunity for Eden Prairie to cut this lead by 1.
Wayzata obviously hasn't had the scoring chances they had in the second period when they scored 6 goals, but I want to just commend Bolus, the Jeff Reardon, if you will, of
Yeah.
the Eden Prairie Eagles, coming in. He's stopped the shots that have come his way, giving them a chance for this comeback. Dietrich, outstanding last week, player of the game against Duluth East when they upset the #1 team in the state. Today, played well first period, and all of a sudden, nothing he could do about it. There were just a lot of scoring chances there.
They get too much of the credit, too much of the blame, and it was just poor positional play by Eden Prairie for periods of time, and that's more of a credit to the way that Wayzata worked the defense of Eden Prairie. Eden Prairie seemed to be in the good position. They just couldn't catch up and possess the puck. But a couple really impressive goals by this Trojan squad tonight. That has to make them feel pretty good. Goals haven't been coming in bunches. But tonight is a great offensive showing. Now they get to show off their defensive skills on the PK.
Ness, Matthews, North, and Bergsland out for the box play for the Trojans. They're in dark blue. Jensen in the corner, wearing white, works it back to the point. Middlestat back to Jensen. Clipped out of the zone. Ness is able to run some time off the clock. 20 seconds have elapsed on this power play. We have Conan, Middlestat, Jensen, Irwin, and Pikowski. They've kind of used these 5 all day on the power play when they've had their chances, Bart. They seem to have settled in on this. The only downside to it is a little bit out of sorts with the Lions getting them back put together, as this is, players, gathered from different parts of the team, a couple different forward lines, and even some defense.
Well, and part of the lack of continuity as far as the lines is we've seen a couple errant passes by Jensen, and that's very, very unusual. He's putting them to areas where he suspects people are going to be or anticipates them to be, only to be met with a Wayzata Trojans stick.
Trojans have killed half of that penalty against Monty. Now they have a 2-on-1 opportunity, and it's an offside call, as just getting caught a little bit over the line is Lyson. He tried to do the splits, but lost his balance a little bit. And fortunately for the Eagles, that thwarts an attack, as they had, uninterrupted 2-on-1 chance zone entry, even though they were shorthanded.
Yeah, it was Irwin that tried to step up. The puck got behind him, and then Wasali, who tried to get to the line, but couldn't do it. But a huge break for Eden Prairie.
Still 44 seconds remaining in the man advantage. 44 seconds, now down to 36. Eden Prairie forced to retreat back into their own end. It was just toward the length of the ice, and nice play there by Anderson. Down to 28 seconds in this power play, and it's toward the length of the ice. This time it is Dingma. Pejor. Now he's down into the teens, plays it up. Will Height gains the red, gains the blue. They try one last chance to set something up. Zedlik in position to block the shot. It whistles just wide, and over on the far side, Jones plays back to the point. He uses Langfelds. Back to Jones. Jones looking for a tip, and it slides just past Will Height and steered aside by Wong.
And we're back to 5-on-5. Successful PK by Wayzata.
So now I think we're going to get him at the end of this. Whenever we get a whistle,
Yep.
I think we'll finally, it's 12 minutes into the period, we finally have Schmidt returning. Great news if you're Wayzata. They have just killed a penalty. They get their top player. He's committed to the University of Minnesota. He's a senior captain. He's back. Interesting they don't go right back with him, because Bart, he's rested.
Well, again, but Wayzata doesn't need to score. They're under 5 minutes right now, protecting a 2-goal lead. But you just want to still have some continuity. I mean, the line that's out here has earned their ice time, but I understand what you're saying. You want your best players on the ice as much as you can, but you also have to reward the other players for their hard work.
And Matthews, Moni, and Lyson have had a very good game today. Good point.
Indeed.
4:37 remaining in this game. Eagles still trailed by 2. I had a similar situation today. I worked the Blake Edina game, last 2 state champions. And Edina wins 5-2. One of the questions I had for Pete Wagner was, at what point do you go get the goalie? He said with 3 goals he never would. We've got a 2-goal game, Bart. What should we be watching for? When do you think Lee Smith maybe goes and looks over toward Bolus and thinks about getting him off?
Well, I don't think it's going to be before the 2-minute mark, but possession has so much to do with it, and making sure everybody's healthy and resting. I think the timeouts have already been burned by both squads.
Lesko's going off for a hook or a slash. Not sure what they'll call it. scoring chance there all the way to net, and it's Sally with the backhand that gets steered aside by Bolus. But that's just a disaster if you're Eden Prairie. There were 4 minutes to go in the game. They trail by 2. Barring any further goals or penalties, they'll spend half of it shorthanded as Lesko goes off. They call it a slash.
Yeah, and Eden Prairie has not yet to date scored a shorthanded goal, so it doesn't help their cause any further, but they do have to, they can build on this, kill this penalty off and go from there, but challenges in front of them, and it's not an easy one right now.
Entering this game, and I haven't done the math to add on what's happened today, but the Trojans have successfully killed 43 penalties, 78%. That means they've allowed 12 goals. Oh, I've got it backward. We're on the wrong team. Eden Prairie has killed 30 out of 47, so they've allowed 17 goals. So this is that troublesome PK for Eden Prairie. I know they've given up another one today. They've given up at least 18 power play goals. So it would be critical that they kill this and then get the goalie out and score quickly if they're going to have any chance to come back and tie.
Well, the problem that you have is the timing of the penalty. I mean, you're under 5 minutes, you're down by a couple, and now you're a man down. So it's just really the timing of the penalty and who's taking the penalties. That was an effort penalty. You know, you don't want to chastise, but
Mulrennan, back of the net. Mulrennan takes the pass from Schmidt. It is 7-4, his 3rd goal of the year. Ryan Mulrennan for Wayzata. Little insurance goal, and Bart, I think that might seal it.
Well, again, anything can happen in this game, but yeah, the likelihood of Eden Prairie coming back, just 3:02 left in the clock, as you can see, down by 3. Didn't do themselves any favors on that, but you have to feel for Bolus, who came in to tried to make that save, but just a nice redirect by Mulrennan. He's had an outstanding game tonight. Really pushed the pace. He's always in the right spots at the right time, but he's done a little bit of everything for this Trojan squad as they march to a victory. And they're not letting up either, are they?
So they give North an assist on it as well. So it's Mulrennan from Schmidt and North. And for Mulrennan, that's 1 goal, 2 assists. For Schmidt, that's 2 goals, 2 assists. Pretty good, particularly when you have to set out a period with a minor and a misconduct, right?
Yeah. Well, you know, coming out on the power play as well, but I think North has put in a good effort. We've said his name a couple times tonight. There's a lot of players on this Trojan team that have really kind of turned in a lunch pail type effort, but they've also shown some offensive skill, which I think I'm kind of impressed about. I think Coach O'Leary has to feel real good about coming into the community center and inflicting their will on this a very good and motivated Eden Prairie squad.
So we've got 2 minutes and 20 seconds remaining. Eden Prairie trails 7-4. Looks like the Trojans are going to win. Bart, I'm going to start winding it down here. I want to get your thoughts. We're getting, you know, I know they're just starting conference play, but the Lakes only got 5 teams, and they're penalty coming. No call. There's only 1 game against Hopkins. They play the other 3 teams twice. So Lake play is going to go in a blink of an eye. So as we look forward to the sections on Section 6, it's pretty deep with teams like Blake and St. Louis Park being decent this year. But, you know, top of it is Eden Prairie and then Wayzata, Cretin-Durham Hall, kind of the 2-3-ish seeds. What are your thoughts for their chances in 6? And Eden Prairie, they're in a tough section. Minnetonka and Holy Family, 2 of the top 5 teams in the state. So give me some section previews here before we sign off.
Well, I mean, if you look at the body of work from Wayzata, obviously, as we talked about, the addition changes every year, but they've been state tournament representative for their section the last 2 years and certainly are capable. And if they can kind of mimic the offensive wherewithal, they can certainly be a team that nobody will want to face come sections. I think Eden Prairie's just a hard-working team that if they can kind of iron out a little bit, I think the worst enemy really for this Eden Prairie team is between their ears, because I just think that the hope is there, the effort is there. They're just trying to help their team. Sometimes they do too much, and sometimes they just put themselves in really tough situations. But both of these teams are very proud programs that are certainly going to be a challenge come section time, and I wouldn't be surprised if either one represented. Obviously, it's a tough road to hoe, but they're certainly both capable, and they're both very, very well-coached teams.
So, Bart, if you're a Trojan supporter, this is their 5th win in a row. It runs their record. It's getting more respectable. They're now 10-6-1. Mm-hmm. You know, no matter what, you just keep thinking, we're a heck of a lot better than we were last year. You know, last year they had just an atrocious regular season, wound up getting through the sections, beating Edina and winning the section final and making it to state. So I think they both got some positives. Obviously, no matter what, Eden Prairie is going to keep looking at last Saturday when they beat Duluth East. On the other side, Wayzata's playing some pretty good hockey right now.
Yeah, indeed they are. And the thing, the mantra that I always go back to is if you can play solid defense and be consistent and the effort is there, you're going to have a chance to win a lot of games. Offense will come and go, but if you can make your common denominator good, solid defense, it's going to give you a chance. And I think Wong has been effective in goal tonight. They have Sawyer Anderson, the senior goaltender. So they still have the traditional good, solid goaltending from Wayzata, but they played just such a nice defensive brand that they can beat anybody at any given time. But tonight they've showed some offensive wherewithal, and I think that that's going to send a message to the other teams in their section.
Irwin getting a couple chances there from the point. First one goes wide. Second one he chose not to shoot. This one hits a Wayzata player. We get a whistle, just 21 seconds to go. So Bart, I've really enjoyed doing this game with you. I want to commend Wayzata for really a very solid performance. You know, Eden Prairie back to the drawing board. They can go to practice Monday and get back to work. Let's start looking at your choice for the Shirts Unlimited Player of the Game.
Well, there's obviously a couple choices. I think that as far as the, Schmidt's obviously got the 2-2 tonight. He's got the Chuck Woolery 4-point night, but I'm
2-2. Chuck Woolery, I love it.
I'm going to kind of migrate away from it just because of the actions previously. If the ref's not going to hold him accountable, I'm going to a little bit because he's too good of a player to be mixed up in that kind of stuff. But Wayzata, to get back to the focus, they came in and earned a very solid and convincing victory. I think Coach O'Leary has to be very, very happy with his team. And we've talked about it before, John, on several occasions as far as Eden Prairie. This is a good hockey team. This is a team that's just got to kind of get out of their own way. And if they have a coach that's going to do it, it's going to be Lee Smith. So Eden Prairie, keep your head high. Effort is something that you really, you're not getting outworked. You're just making things harder on yourself than they have to be. But the Shirts Unlimited Player of the Game tonight, I think he spearheaded every rush. It's going to be sophomore forward Ryan Mulrennan. I think that he was a player that put Eden Prairie back on their heels. He's on the score sheet. He played a very significant role in their team's win tonight, but there's a lot of players on this Wayzata team. So we'll give the reward to Ryan Mulrennan, but he's going to represent other players on this team because they turned in an outstanding performance tonight.
Bart Archer tabs Ryan Mulrennan as the Shirts Unlimited Player of the Game. 1 Gino, 2 apples, and a really well-rounded, spirited performance. One of many Trojans that had a good game today.
Absolutely.
So credit Mulrennan and the rest of the team. Now, I want to thank our sponsors one last time. Shirts Unlimited, Tavern on 4 and 5, Green Mill, and Walzer Toyota. For Todd Grover, Brett Johnson, Bart Archer, John Conley. We're from Eden Prairie Community Center. I want to thank everybody for watching. Any final thoughts before we sign off, Bart?
No, what a great time of year. This is the run for sections right now. Every team's trying to get into their playoff mode. We've seen a lot of great hockey. But, again, our contribution to Hockey Day in Minnesota has been a great day of hockey. So far, hockey from start to finish, and it's just a day that I think everybody looks forward to. And this is Eden Prairie and Wayzata's contribution tonight. We appreciate their efforts. They provided us with a great deal of entertainment.
It is Hockey Day in Minnesota. And Bart, if only there were something tomorrow that would keep our attention the same way Hockey Day in Minnesota has.
I can't think of what it is.
Can't think of anything for anyone to do tomorrow, but I hope you can find something that tickles your fancy.
Oh, I got an adult league hockey game tomorrow night.
Yes, you've got an adult league hockey
game. There it is.
I
found out what it was.
Anyway, the next time you hear from me, the next time you hear from Bart Archer, the next time we'll be talking about the Vikings on their way to the Super Bowl. So
let's hope.
Enjoy the game tomorrow, everybody. And signing off from Eden Prairie Community Center, Todd Grover, Brett Johnson, Bart Archer, John Conley. See ya!